In this construction, we will be constructing quadrilaterals starting with the square. For this particular construction, we are going to construct a square when given one side that is 60 millimeters. Note a square has 4 equal sides and 4 angle construction. You may need to review angle construction as we will be constructing the right angle, which is an angle of 90 degrees. So to begin with, let's choose our object line and choose the line tool, and we draw our given line. Alright, so you may select auto to make sure it's horizontal, and this line is 60 units long. Now we could continue and draw the square. However, we are doing geometrical construction, so we must show how we construct the square itself. Right, so escape the end the line tool, and we will now construct our 90-degree angle. So I will choose a construction line, and we will be using the arc tool, center start end, and we begin by drawing the construction for the right angle. We will use a figure of 15 centimeters, which is convenient. Enter. Now I started on the line, our arc must start from on the line. Take off the auto tool, and we will draw a large arc. Now, to ensure that our angles come out correctly, we are using the same measurement in every instance. So we are using 15 centimeters or 15 units for our arc measurement. Now, from angle construction, you will know that this first angle gives you 60 degrees, and if we repeat the construction, remember we are using 15 units every time. The second arc will give you 120 degrees and 90 degrees for the perpendicular. We would get it by bisecting between the 60 and the 120 degrees. Remember, we are using the same unit of measurement every time. In this case, we are using 15 centimeters. And we repeat that construction. Right, enter. Now, if we have in this situation happening, it means that we chose the incorrect point, because this will be moving. It draws the arc in an anti-clockwise direction, and to change that, we just press and hold the control key, and that allows us to draw in a clockwise direction. And there we have our 90 degrees being constructed. We draw a line from our start point, passing to our intersecting arcs, and that will be 90 degrees. What we would also do, by going to the top node, we get stretch or lengthen, we will lengthen, and we will just lengthen it at an arbitrary length at this point in time. Now, once we have one right angle, again using our arc tool, center start end, and we measure the length of the given line, we can draw an arc, and that arc will make these two lines equal, and we do that from the corresponding corners. Alright, always remember we're using center start end, and we do it the next direction. Remember, you press Control if you want to draw the arc in the opposite direction, and we do all our arcs from the given points. Where these two arcs intersect, that would be the completion of our square. So I'm going to go to Object Line and using the line tool, complete the square. Now we could actually use the same tool that we use like lengthen to actually shorten this arc, because we really don't need this big arc as it is here. So lengthen actually works both ways, to make a line longer, or we could use it to make it shorter. And there you have it, the construction of a square when given one side 60 millimeters. In this construction, we will be constructing a square when given its diagonal. So the diagonals are intersecting at right angles. So we have A, B, C, D. Those are the diagonals. And you are given the diagonal of 85. So to begin with, let's choose a construction line and we draw the diagonal. This diagonal is 85. Let me put on the auto to make sure it's completely horizontal. 85 units long. Now, in order to get our diagonals intersecting at right angles, we are going to bisect the given diagonal. Alright, please review bisection of lines for the construction. Once again, we're going to be using center, start, end, and from each end, let me take off the auto. We're going to be swinging an arc. We will be swinging an arc. The arc must be more than half the length of the given line. So I choose appropriate measurements. In this case, I will be using 55 and swing that arc. I use that same measurement from both ends of the lines. Alright, and that gives me a bisection. So I also connect the lines. So from this bisection now, I can use the circle tool and draw a circle that is equal to the length or half the length of the diagonal. I will use lengthen to extend my construction line to make the circle. I can also use extend, but it's a simple lengthen will work in this case. So where my diagonals intersect and touch the circle, those are now the sides of the square that I'm looking for. So I use the line tool and connect the four diagonals. Escape, and that completes the construction of a square when given its diagonals. In this construction, we will be constructing a rectangle given two sides, one side being 80 millimeters and the other side 50 millimeters. Now the rectangle has two pairs of equal opposite sides and four right angles. Once our figure has right angles, we will be constructing right angles please review angle construction. So let's begin with the line tool. We draw the line. Put on the auto. This line is 80 millimeters. Next construction, we construct our 90-degree angle. Please remember to review the construction of angles using center start end, use a convenient measurement, and we use a measurement throughout. Take off the auto. Remember, the first arc is 60 degrees. The second arc will give us 120. And when we bisect between those two arcs, that will give us our right angle or 90-degree angle. Remember, for this construction, all the arcs are the same measurement. I just choose to use 15. Once you use any measurement, all of that works. And I connect the beginning to the first point to get my 90-degree angle. The next thing we will do, we will add doing the 50 millimeter measurement. So once again, arc tool, center start end. The measurement is 50, and we make an arc. And we do that from both ends of the line. Measurement is 50, we make the arc. Before we were doing lengthen, let's look at the extend tool. So where we see trim, if we look, there's a down arrow next to it that gives you extend, and it asks select the object. So we select where we want it to be extend to, extend selected object, and we click on the line that we want to extend, and there we have extended our line. Now we go back to our arc tool. From our point where our extension of our angle cuts the arc, and we will measure the side of 80 millimeters and draw arc to intersect. So what we have now is our 4 points of our rectangle that we complete using an object line. Line tool to our points, escape to come out of that line tool, and there we have the construction of our rectangle when given its two sides. In this construction, we will be constructing a rectangle when given its diagonals on one side. In this case, we are given a diagonal of 80 millimeters and one side of 35 millimeters. So I'm going to start with the construction line. Using the line tool, will draw the diagonal, put on the auto, of 80 millimeters, and like we did with the square before, given its diagonal, we find the center of the diagonal by using the bisection construction. Remember, bisection, we are swinging arcs, and the only thing that we need to make sure is that the arcs We use the same measurement twice, and the measurement must be greater than half the length of the line. And connect the intersections of the arc, they get the bisection. For this now, we will use the circle tool and the center that we just found to draw our circle. Next, to complete, back to the arc tool, and the other side, the side that's given, that is 35 millimeters. We use that to draw an arc, and we actually draw that arc from both ends of our diagonal, but in the opposite direction. Alright, so what this would give us is our 4 points. Go back to object line and the line tool, and starting from the diagonal to the side, we connect our points, and this gives us our rectangle. So continuing with our series of quadrilateral construction, now we arrive at the parallelogram, and a parallelogram has no right angles but two pairs of equal opposite sides. So in this construction, we will be constructing a parallelogram when given two sides, and they are 50 millimeters and 80 millimeters, and they included angle of 60 degrees. Before, when we did the square and the rectangle, the angle that we were working with would have been 90 degrees, because all squares and rectangles have right angles. So to begin with, we go to the line tool, and we start with our first line. In this case, it will be 80 millimeters. Let's put on auto to make sure it's horizontal. 80, enter. The next thing we will do is construct that angle of 60 degrees. Remember, for this construction, we will be using center start end, and we always start with the angle of any convenient radius. We'll use 20 at this point in time. So we just take off the auto, and we just need 60. So once again, you can review angle construction, and there. So this would give us our angle, line tool, of 60 degrees. Alright, so what do we do next? We will draw the other side using the arc tool, and that measurement is 50 millimeters, and we will do this from both ends. We use an arc because we are not sure where our line will be, so the arc represents just some places we think it will be. Alright, next we're going to be using extend. Select the line that we want to extend it to, press enter, and go to the line that we want to extend. So there we have it. So this would be one side completed, and we have the length and the required angle. So what we do next, back to our arc tool, center, and this time the length will be 80, which would be the other side. So we draw an arc. Alright. So we have a case here where these two arcs don't intersect. Well, very easy. We go to the node and we select lengthen, and we lengthen it such that they do intersect. So once we have our intersecting arcs here, we can complete our parallelogram. line tool, our parallelogram. By connecting the points, we complete our parallelogram, and then we have our parallelogram given two sides 80 and 50 millimeters and the included angle of 60 degrees.